Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jordan Davidson, and thank you for tuning in to the first episode of Behind the Bench. Last week, the Mississauga Steelheads played their first two games of the OHL season at the Niagara Ice Dogs on Thursday, September 29th, and then their home opener against the Sudbury Wolves on Sunday, October 2nd. I'm going to run you through those two games and a few other things that happened this week, talk about a few things, so let's get started. Of course, the first official game of the OHL season means a ton of official OHL debuts. Congratulations to Parker Von Richter, Finn Harding, William Eggleton, Mason Zabeski, Valdemar Hull, Lucas Carmiris, and of course the starting goaltender, Alessio Beglieri. Of course, I also have to acknowledge the Steelheads debuts of former Ice Dogs, Isaac Enright and Ryan Struthers, making their return to Niagara for the first time as well. Not returning for the first time, but also returning to Niagara to face his former team was former Ice Dog Jake Uberti, who was just released from Detroit Red Wings NHL camp in time to start the season with the Steelheads. Also released in time to start the season with the Steelheads was Kai Schwindt, who was trying out with the Florida Panthers. A little more on him later. That also meant that Ethan Del Mastro, Owen Beck, and Luca Del Belbaluz are still away at NHL camp at the time of this game. Of course, the home opener for the Ice Dogs means a full team introduction before the game. Wouldn't normally bring up the Ice Dogs hometown introduction, but one of the players listed as a healthy scratch was a guy named Bryce Cook. More on him later as well. It doesn't take long for the Steelheads to get on the board. It's only 3:38 into the game as Zachary Lavoie beats Owen Flores to open the scoring, give the assist to Jake Uberti and Dylan Gordon. Only took a few minutes after that for our first controversy of the game, Pano Fimis picking up a slew foot penalty, which resulted in his ejection from the game. Niagara fans didn't like it. Even Mississauga fans were kind of shaking their head at the call. Didn't look like an ejection-worthy move, but could have been a tripping penalty or something like that. But it does result in Pano Fimis' removal from the game and suspension for a couple of games as well, as just getting a penalty like that makes it automatic. So, unfortunately, the Steelheads didn't get anything on the ensuing major power play. Zach Lavoie actually took a holding penalty just 5 seconds later, and once they did get the power play back, nothing ended up happening. So, just a 1-0 score at the end of one for the Mississauga Steelheads. Almost the same time they scored in the first period, 3:58 this time in the second period. It is Zach Lavoie again, potting his second goal and the Steelheads' second goal. Jake Uberti getting his second assist on that one as well, and it is 2-0 Steelheads. Pretty uneventful second period otherwise, just the one penalty on the Ice Dogs side, so let's move on to the third, where the Ice Dogs kind of started fighting back a little bit. Just a minute 12 into the third period, it is Aiden Castle, the Mississauga native, becoming the first to beat Alessio Beglieri officially in the OHL, add the assist to Juan Copeland and former Spitfire Pasquale Zito, and it is 2-1. Ice Dogs then tied it a few minutes later, just near the end of a Kai Schwindt penalty. It's Brendan Cirizzotti with an unassisted marker, tying it at 2. Just a few minutes after that, though, at 5:02, it is James Hardy restoring the Steelheads lead with his first of many this season. Assist goes to Jake Uberti, his third of the game, and I didn't notice this on the broadcast, but apparently Finn Harding got a secondary assist as well. That is Finn Harding's first point in the OHL. Congratulations, Finn. 3-2 Steelheads. Again, though, the lead doesn't last too long. Again, it's Pasquale Zito now scoring his first goal as an Ice Dog. At 8:08, assist going to Brendan Cirizzotti and Ryan Van Etten. Another assist I didn't notice on the broadcast, but may have been awarded after the game. But 3-3, and it stayed 3-3 until the end of the third period, so we are heading to overtime. And a minute 48 into the overtime period, how about our boy Zachary Lavoie getting his third goal of the game, third goal of the season obviously, completing his first OHL hat trick and winning the game for the Steelhead. He gave the assist to Luke Misa and Chaz Sharp, their first of the season. Great game, man. I think we scored 4 hat tricks last year. I think all of them were at home. And, we play our first game on the road and we get our first hat trick just like that. So, congratulations, Zach Lavoie, on your accomplishment. You're looking good this season so far, dude. So the Steelheads get a big win on the road over the Ice Dogs on opening night. I'm sure all the former Ice Dogs were happy about that. Whenever I am at the game, I will try to record the 3 stars presentation, but at the Niagara game, I was not. So here they are. The third star was given to the Ice Dogs' Brendan Cirizzotti with his goal and an assist. Second star with 3 assists for the Steelheads was Jake Uberti. And of course, with the hat trick, 3 goals, Zach Lavoie was star number 1. And it's a great way to start the season. We'll talk about the home opener in a bit, but a few things happened between that game and the home opener. So let's talk about that for a bit. So it was announced the following day on September 30th, of course, the Bryce Cook trade, which I did touch on in a short video, but also Kai Schwindt getting the NHL entry-level contract from the Florida Panthers. Of course, Kai Schwindt not drafted into the OHL, but ended up making the Mississauga Steelheads on a tryout last season. And then basically on a tryout with the Florida Panthers, obviously didn't make the Florida Panthers NHL roster, but still impressed enough to get that contract. Of course, you don't make it into the OHL the traditional way. You don't make it into the NHL the traditional way. Of course, it probably helped that Cole Schwindt's your brother and maybe got a few more eyes on you, but they don't just give contracts out to anybody. Kai Schwindt earned this, and he should be very, very proud of himself. And in spite of Cole Schwindt being his brother, he wasn't gifted at drafting. Had to make it into the OHL on his own, had to make it, on the Florida Panthers radar on his own, but he got there. Of course, I'm a little extra proud of Kai. I always remember him. I think I've known him since he was 13 years old, him and his little brother Brady, running around the rink at intermissions, when Cole was a Steelhead. Of course, you guys will remember that Kai Schwindt scored the first goal for the Steelheads last year, and in the clip that I had of him doing that, I got a little excited. There was a lot of reasons for that. I know that the month he spent trying out for the Steelheads was not the easiest month for him, for many reasons. So I was elated that he was able to score that goal, and I'm even more elated now that he was able to get this opportunity with the Panthers. So good on you, Mr. Schwindt. So we move on to the home opener on Sunday against the Sudbury Wolves. Of course, the first visit of Joe Ranger since he was traded to the Wolves. Was able to see Joe before the game. He said hello. He's good. He's enjoying his time there. Now, Joe was a little bit disappointed that I wasn't able to film him, but unfortunately, due to the media status I have now, I wasn't able to at that time. But it's almost like the players looked forward to it and enjoyed it. But that's none of my business. Few season debuts for the Steelheads on Sunday. Bryce Cook, just acquired from the Ice Dogs, made his debut. Luca Del Balbaluz, also released by the Columbus Blue Jackets, made it back in time for Sunday's game. And also getting his first OHL start in goal was Ryerson Leanders, our second-round pick. So we had our ceremonies, so we had our player introductions. 101-year-old former Mississauga Mayor Hazel McCallion dropped the puck, and the home opener got underway. It was a pretty back-and-forth first period, a lot of physicality, but not a whole lot of penalty calls. It looked like the whistles were kind of away, for that first period at least. There was no scoring until the 17:22 mark of the first period, and it was the Wolves' Mark Boudreau beating Ryerson Leanders for the first time, Matthew Magna getting the assist. 1-0 Wolves, and that is how it stood after 1. The Wolves got another goal at the 6:20 mark of the second period, Ethan Larmond getting his first of the season, Landon McCallum with the assist, making it 2-0 for the Wolves. Steelheads had a power play goal at the 12:40 mark of the second period, as Charlie Callahan was able to tip a shot past Joe Ranger and beat him. Luca Del Balbaluz with the primary assist in his first game back, and Jake Uberti with his 4th assist of the season. It's early, but he leads the team in points right now. A couple of nice games for Mr. Uberti there, and that made it 2-1. Another Wolves penalty at the end of the second period, but this time it is Coach Adelich picking up the shorty with his second goal of the season at an assist by David Goyette, and that made it 3-1 Wolves after 2. Unfortunately, the third period was more of the same for the Wolves. I'm probably going to speed through the remaining goals as I don't want to get this too repetitive and boring, so here we go. Steelheads, however, were able to get one more goal with just about 2 minutes left in the game. Chaz Sharp able to tip one past Joe Ranger, and it resulted in the first OHL assists of both Parker Von Richter and Voldemar Hall. So a nice milestone point for them at least, but not much difference in the score as the Sudbury Wolves beat the Steelheads by a score of 6-2. Anyway, here is the 3 stars presentation and a few other clips I recorded after the game.
Wow! I know, it's so good. He's ignoring us.
Oh. Thanks, Mom. Gotta make him pretty.
In there, pal. Here we go.
Finn Harding.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice meeting you. See you guys.
Hey, Finn.
So I got the GQ, sunglasses and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just whatever you do, just don't wear the sunglasses inside. Yeah, I know, right? There's 2 types of people that wear sunglasses inside.
Here you go, Mosh.
Enjoy, guys.
That's your birdie. He wore 13 last year. Now he's wearing 86. Now you changed numbers.
Yeah. Hey, 13 plus 86 is 99. That works.
Oh.
Yeah. So the Steelheads lose 6-2 to the Wolves despite outshooting the Wolves 43-23. Rookie goaltender Ryerson Leenders stopped 17 of those 23. I want to talk about Ryerson for a little bit and why I kind of feel bad for him after that one. Of course, there's a lot of extra pressure in the home opener to make a good first impression for the fans. Of course, in the case of a lot of fans, it's the first time they're seeing you all year. You know, in a league like this, there's always a bunch of players that leave, and you want to prove that you're as good as they are. And Ryerson Leenders not only made his OHL debut in a game where there was, you know, a lot of pressure to look good, but there was also a goalie that we've been cheering for 4 years that happened to be in the other net. And I won't lie, I heard a lot of sentiment in the crowd during that game about how they wish Joe was still here. You know, me personally, I'd love it if Joe was still here, but I do understand the business of the game, and, you know, there's 3 overage spots, and we had more than 3 players that were deserving of overage spots, so there had to be some tough decisions made. You know, we could have Joe Ranger here, but that also means we probably don't have Charlie Callahan, or we maybe don't have Jake Uberti, or maybe we don't even have James Hardy. I mean, we probably have James Hardy, who am I kidding, but yeah, hanging on to Joe Ranger means there's another player we don't have. You know, it happens every year. There's always players that we miss, like going into last year, there was a whole lot of, I miss Kai Schwindt, I miss Kian Washkarik, I miss Thomas Harley, I miss Nick Canade. And then the season plays on, and you start to realize, hey, this Zach Lavoie guy is pretty good, this Owen Beck guy is pretty good. Luca's gotten so much better, you know? It's a circle of life in this league. And guys, Ryerson Leenders is going to figure it out. It was a very tough debut for him, but he was the first goalie picked in this draft for a reason. Like, he played great in Kitchener when there was hardly any pressure at all. And, you know, once he maybe stops feeling that pressure, relaxes a little bit, starts playing his game, you're going to see a great Ryerson Leenders, and you're going to see a great Alessio Baglieri as well. I heard the post-game scrum that JR gave after the game, and, you know, he wasn't happy with a lot of the effort defensively, but even he kind of admitted that maybe this was the wrong game to have Leenders make his debut in. Maybe should have started Baglieri and held Leenders back for one of the games next week when there was a little less pressure. Doesn't matter in any case, both goalies have made their debuts now, and both goalies are going to have great careers in this league. So please be patient with Ryerson Leenders and Alessio Baglieri. Don't punish them for them not being Joe Ranger. I mean, I'm not Steve Dangle, but you're still watching me. And Joe Ranger will be the first to admit that he's had games like that too. So please be patient with these guys. They're going to be great. Trust me. The good news is the Steelheads will be getting some help this week. Chicago and Montreal have respectively released Ethan Del Mastro and Owen Beck from their NHL camps. So they will be rejoining the Steelheads this week. Owen did get an entry-level contract as a parting gift. But those guys will be back. We have a full roster. It's time to get serious. The Steelheads continue their season next week with a couple of games against Western Conference opponents. Friday, October 7th, they welcome in the Erie Otters. And then Saturday, October 8th, they make their first trip in a while to Owen Sound to take on the Attack. I will be at both games. Hope to see some of you guys there. Thank you guys for watching the first episode of Behind the Bench. I hope you enjoyed it. I will leave by saying to the OHL and the CHL, please allow the fair use of your professional and amateur footage. Help the small media so they can help you. Until next time, you can find me behind the bench and only the bench. This is Jordan signing off. Bye-bye.